Great. Well, we're back.
We are. What a time
We
to be alive.
for another round of North Melbourne reflections. Ugh.
Don't sound too enthused.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the last iteration of this. It was only a 35-minute episode. Don't know why. What happened then? Why were we doing it shorter?
We weren't live.
We weren't live back then?
No.
Okay.
We started this pre-recorded, and it was a real sort of short and sharp operation. And now we've introduced a lot of JC time into it. So.
True.
Yeah.
Are you up and about for this week?
Of course. I'm up and about for every week.
I need to find my up and aboutness. I'm still searching for it.
Just, I'm surprised he's made the cut for the thumbnail, to be honest.
Now look, life's about forgiving. This happens all the time. I forgive him. You watch. He'll do something this week. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
The big, bad, bustling Suvalaki.
I actually really like him as I like him as a player. I do. I enjoy him. I like
but
him.
he's got the see you next Tuesday about him.
It's like, does he though?
I reckon when you're, like, with all due respect to North, when you're playing for a team that doesn't really get a whole lot going for them, you need to show a bit. You need to show a bit, I think.
Yeah, but like they're showing a bit, then there's tunneling a bloke or throwing McGovern's head into the turf, or
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm with you. He's got to show a little bit of tough. Listen, I'm willing to forgive, and I'm not willing to forget, but I'm willing to forgive. I like loyalty. He's a loyal player. I think he's going to stick around at North and ride it out. And how much more do you want me to say about him, Murray?
No, just that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Anyway, we've got some friends with us who are joining. We've got Alicia, Christian, Chills, Rachel, Jay, Unbranded, Blues for Life, Mark Smithies, Marnie Cohen. It's the North Melbourne queen herself.
Yeah,
an entire episode dedicated to North. This is Ari's dream come true. Peter V, Suvlaki game at Marvel. Debbie, hi. Can it be game day tomorrow? Yep. I need a little bit of a pep up, Deb. I'm with you. Chelsea, GM, I don't know if I love Ari or the show, but I love the reflection show. I don't know what that means, but I think it's a positive.
I'll take it.
Hey, we'll take any positivity we can get.
Absolutely.
Damien, hello, mate. Winter 1429. Hello.
That's when you were born, wasn't it?
1429. That's when I was born. Yeah, around about then. That was the time. I think the Crusades were happening. Yeah,
let's go with that.
Yeah.
Wow,
I tried to be smart and then got outsmarted.
Not really. No, just a gag. I think lighten up a bit.
You know what? Maybe I needed reflections to pep me up.
I think you do. I
did. It's like it's not man flu, but when you're just not there.
Get over yourself, I say.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. The best advice you can tell someone is to get over themselves, like as a friend.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hence what I just did.
That's what I meant, Jay. The Renaissance. That's right.
Yeah, try to be smart. Get outside.
Very good. Okay. You are not going to believe what we're going to try and do for the game today. We're going to do the game. Ari, you are going to be doing the reflecting on the last time we played. And then we have been given the ultimate challenge. And I think we'll be okay, but we will definitely need the chat for this one because we're going deep into the archives for the game.
I'm kind of scared. I feel like
you should be.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Thanks for the...
You should be petrified, mate.
Thanks for the reassurance. It's all right. Pressure makes diamonds.
Pressure makes diamonds. Ain't that the truth?
Pressure's my middle name, mate.
Yep. So, just before we get into reflecting on the last time, where are you? What's the pulse check for you and Carlton at the moment? Where are we at? What's the story? Are you panicking, or are we just in a bit of a winter blue?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the phrase "success isn't linear" is been heard ad nauseum over the last kind of 5 years in regards to the Carlton Football Club. I also think, yeah, you can speak about that from a season point of view, but I also think from a in-season point of view, it's not necessarily just going to be smooth sailing for the whole year. There will be blips, there will be peaks and troughs. Just got to get through it. I think it's very, very fixable issues that are the reason we are losing games. So I think I have faith in the coaching staff and the backroom staff to address it, and I have faith in our playing group to take on that advice and address it on field. I think we should be okay. Just need a bit more confidence back. Need the, just feeling, it's a little bit of that winter blues, just not quite really in the swing of things. But I think we should be fine come the business end. So,
Okay.
Not worried.
Very good. I had a comment on, I think it was my preview, from a gentleman who said he was very confident that we're going to lose this week. And he believed that we'll be exposed for the lazy and comfortable team that we are, and that we rely on too few. And usually I wouldn't bring up a comment like that. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I was like, what if he's right? What if we do lose this week?
It'd be a big slap in the face, wouldn't it? I understand. I don't necessarily understand. I understand his point, because everyone, as you said, is entitled to their opinion. I understand that.
Yeah,
I don't agree with the relying on too few.
I agree. Yeah.
However, I don't entirely disagree on the. I wouldn't call it lazy, but the comfortability that we've played with over the last 2 weeks. I think like we've expected the game to just come to us like it has done, and when we've been challenged and we haven't quite got there yet.
That defensive application that kind of got us out of the rut and into this new era that we've been watching over the last 12 months. Yeah, that's dipped. That those the little things, the little tiny things that were the makeup of what we have become, just dipped a bit.
Especially with how competitive this competition is now. You take 5% off, you get exposed big time. So the Giants weren't in form, and they got a hold of us, and the Dogs had just come off a spanking over in Adelaide, and they got a hold of us. So we should be. I think we'll be fine. It's far from panic stations just yet. We're still second. It'll all be good. I think it'll all turn.
Panic stations is the game that we reflected on the last time we did this episode. That was when big, bad, bustling, bruising Suvalaki kicked 7 goals on us. That was panic stations.
Yes.
So we're far from that.
Very far. Very far. We've come a long way in 12 months, let alone in 36.
Yeah. Well, let's start with you. What happened last time we played? Good Friday. What were the storylines, and what can we learn?
Well, I want to take a different but also similar approach with how I reflect on this game, similar to how I reflected on the Dogs game last week, looking at a couple of narratives, couple of storylines, but in particular focusing on 2 players, and these were 2 of our 3 inclusions for the last time that we played North Melbourne. So, if I may begin, Carlton are littered with stars. Starting from the midfield with Patrick Cripps and Sam Walsh, 2 players who have very strong claims to be one of, if not the best player in the competition, especially when the Blues are up and firing. I don't even think I need to go over the talents the Blues have forward of centre. But Harry Kerner, Jesus Christ, just broke there for a second.
You're good.
Charlie Kerner and Harry Mackay speak for themselves. 3 commas between them, and arguably the most dangerous 1-2 punch the competition has to offer. Watching them play when they're at their best is scintillating. However, despite all of these players, arguably Carlton's most important player lies in the back half with Jacob Wiedering. The last and most important layer of defence and the first layer of attack, his one-on-one ability is second to none, and his interceptability has skyrocketed over the last couple of years. His absence is very strongly felt whenever he doesn't play. So when he went down with an ankle injury in pre-season, Carlton fans had a nervous wait to see how the first 2 games and 3 rounds would pan out. Thankfully, they got through relatively unscathed despite scarily close games against the Lions and the Tigers, so his inclusion in Good Friday was a welcomed return. He picked up where he left off, dominating the game from defence. 18 disposals, 9 marks, 7 rebound 50s, and a mammoth 10 1%ers. He reminded everyone else in the competition just how good he is. When the game was there to be won, he kept opponent Nick Larker to just one goal in the second half and asserted his dominance on the contest, proving once again that while forwards sell memberships, mids sign sponsorships, backs win premierships.
Oof.
The other inclusion in this game, which I think is slowly becoming my favourite player over the course of the season. For the longest time, Carlton have lacked that player forward of centre. Since Eddie Betts left Adelaide, the Blues have never been able to recapture that player who can take the game by the scruff of the neck forward of centre and really dominate. We thought Tom Papley was going to be that player until he wasn't. Jack Martin has always shown promise of being that player, but his body has let him down time and time again. David Cunningham, the same. So when fringe Gold Coast player Elijah Hollins became available in the 2023 trade period, the Blues would have been blind to not see the potential. They acted quickly, getting the deal done for a future second-round pick, which has since mirrored bargains such as of the like of Blake Acres. Despite some off-field indiscretions delaying his debut for the club, this only made the 22-year-old hungrier and more determined to prove himself at the competition's biggest club. Class off both feet and brilliant football IQ, Elijah's talents were obvious. It was a question whether or not he was able to put it together when it mattered most. Many watched with a keen eye for his debut to see what he was able to do and how he was able to impact for this Carlton side. Needless to say, his impact was felt in a big way. 22 disposals, 1 goal, 5 tackles and 6 inside 50s, proving just how much quality he has and just how much quality he can add to this side and potentially be that one missing piece in an eventual premiership push. Thank you.
Wow. I don't know what to say. That was great.
You look surprised.
I am very rarely are the words taken away from me, but they are.
There you go.
Wow. Did you just hear that word porn here? Can you just read through that forwards, midfielders, defenders quote again?
Proving once again that while forwards sell memberships, mids sign sponsorships, backs win premierships.
Amen to that. Exactly. See that? Look at this, Ari. Your reflections are top notch. I encourage you to continue writing. Look at this. Look at this.
This is No, I appreciate the love.
Yeah. No, very good. Yeah, wow, Good Friday. Does it what's your footy cycle like? Like, do you yearn for the footy in the off season, then it comes and it's quick, and then you need a month before you get enough data sample size of data, and then like, because it feels like everything's just flying by now.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's flying by. We've in a blink of an eye, we're nearly at round 20, and it's like, what the hell, right? I find footy more of like just a routine, kind of like a calming routine. That throughout the year, I know I get through the week, Friday night, sit down and watch a footy, and then the weekend, there's always something to go to. Like, I'll never be bored on a weekend because I'll always be footy on. If that makes sense. So it's like a good sort of like calming sort of feeling. It depends on the season. Like last year, I reckon I was completely not burnt out, but it was like emotionally just like by the end of that, like when I touched down back in Melbourne, coming home from the prelim, I go, I'm just emotionally spent. Like that second half of the year was just crazy. So I think I was happy to see the off season, but when it gets to like Feb, early March, well now maybe mid Feb, late Feb this season, it really made me think, I need it back. I need that back.
Because as you were talking about Good Friday, I mean, I remember it. I remember being frustrated in the first quarter. I remember things not going our way. I remember pulling away, and then it was like a regulation 9 or 10 goal win, whatever it was, 56 points, 54 points,
57 point win.
57. Yep. I don't know. This time around, it's just made me realize how quick it's all gone by. We've gone through good patches, bad patches. Like, you just blink and every moment becomes a memory, like before you know it.
I remember, Yeah.
But this one is weird because, like, I feel like we should be winning this. I think most of us do. I feel like we're clearly the better side, and most of us do. But that is the dangerous thinking. You kind of got to treat them like they're a top side. You got to treat every side like they are a top side. And I'm always so fascinated with how the team and the coaches manage that.
Yeah, well, I think last time it's a little bit. It was a little bit sort of. I feel like the narratives, in a sense, of both sides coming into the game have flipped completely from last year, from last time we played them. I think the last time we played them, we almost had a point to prove because we hadn't been convincing in our last month's worth of wins. Regardless of the opposition, we hadn't been convincing. And everyone was like, surely we don't let North come into play this game and really make a game out of it and have us and have it be like a 1-2 goal game. Like, surely can't have the ability to pull away when they need it most. And then North were still a very young side, very raw, who were just finding their feet still in the season. So they didn't really have a whole lot of pressure on them or expectation on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now it kind of is flipped where North have shown that they have the ability to challenge and do well against top teams. We saw they did to Collingwood, saw they did to Melbourne. While they didn't win either of those games, they pushed them both to within the last couple of seconds of the game. Whereas Carlton have shown the ability now that we can put away teams and we can do it comfortably. So it's like, which version of which team shows up? Is it the version of North that we saw last week, or is it the version of North that we saw against Collingwood or against Melbourne or against West Coast? Is it the version of Carlton that we also saw last week, or is it the Friday night against Geelong where we probably one of the most dominant performances I've seen? So both clubs have the ability that we've seen since the last time we played them to switch it on and switch it off. North probably more so since the bye, but yeah, it's going to be bizarre. It's going to be an interesting game, I think.
Love this. The coaches must create a narrative. Yeah, it almost does feel like a bit of a no-win situation. You win if it's not by enough, or if you win by less than 7 goals or 6 goals. It's
Yeah.
you should have won by more. If you win by more than 10 goals, it's it was just North. You're not really learning anything from that. You lose, it's just
we spoke about panic stations before. That is panic stations.
Yeah. And so this is a really good comment. What is the narrative inside? I mean, really, look, they're professionals. They know what they've got to do. I mean, we've got a lot more at stake now. We're at round 19. This is not a time where we're putting players on ice, resting them for the off season. This is something that has been happening for a long time with us. Last year was the first year after for a while for not doing it. Year before as well, I should say. So yeah, it's about tapping into what's really important here. Just got to respond. It's a really straightforward week for me. I don't feel anything too special about it.
I also think if this, I say this with all sincerity, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful to North in any way when I say this, but if it was a game that on paper provided us with a bit more of a challenge, I know I say that knowing well and good that North definitely have the ability to put up a great fight, but should this game have been against someone in the top 8 or someone challenging for the top 8, I feel like the build-up and the pressure would have been a lot more on Carlton because it's, well, you lost to the Giants who were battling for the top 8. The Dogs, lost to the Dogs who were battling for the top 8. If we were sitting here versing the Cats or Melbourne or the Suns or someone, and it's like we lose again, it's like, okay, now we're very gettable. And that would have been the entire talking point during this whole week. I think because it's North and because it's a relatively straightforward match on paper, once again, with all due respect, that talk hasn't been as prevalent, which I think will help the players a lot. Even though I think North's best and the Dogs' best or the Suns' best isn't that far apart. I think both sides are capable of doing very similar things when they're at their absolute best.
Yeah. Jay, we're going to touch on team selection a little later. But first, maybe we should play the game. Ready?
Are we not doing? Are you not? Are you not?
Straight into it.
Is this because you haven't prepared and you're just kind of using this?
No,
as your
I had a look and I've decided I didn't want to do a game.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so Terry can take the week off. Terry can coast for a week, but I have to prepare and
Terry
do
can
work.
coast for a week. Yeah, Terry can. Yeah.
Look at this. Practice what you preach, mate.
Yeah, Terry can coast this week. Terry could chill.
That's just outrageous.
Yeah. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I'll take one day off.
One.
So even Cooper's getting into me. By the way, this is not the real Cooper Gretsch. This is just some little boy, but that's okay. I can handle it. I am a dog. I should have prepared.
I think it's spelled DAWG.
Yeah, I'm a dog.
Yeah, got it in you, man.
He's got that dog in him. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Do you have any idea which game we're going to do?
99 grand final.
Yes.
Is it? Great.
Yeah. We're going to need your help. We're going to need the help. It's not the real Cooper Gretsch. Cooper Gretsch is a different person. It's people that pretend to be him. But it's all good. They'll find their way out at some point when they stop being bored. So we've got 11 minutes. We have to name. We're going to need your help, guys. We're going to name the team that played in the 99 grand final. Let's go.
Okay. Cooter played. I know that.
I think
Bradley?
I think Brett Ratton. I think he kicked the first goal for us.
He definitely played. Yeah, Bradley.
Yeah, I think he kicked the first goal. I kind of remember it. I think.
Bradley.
Oh wow. Okay. Chat. Bradley. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to try. Yeah. Whitnell.
Chris Massey. Whitnell.
I want to see how many I can get.
Murphy. Is it Ari Day? Is it?
Well, no. Well, considering I was barely a sperm at this stage, for like a better phrase. I don't know.
No, okay.
I don't know.
I
know a lot from the 95 team. I don't know how many.
Riewoldt. Wait, what about who led the tackle? It was Fraser Brown. He would have played.
Yeah.
I've got Stephen Silvani.
Christou.
Yeah. Christou. Nice. Well, that's a pretty good team.
Yeah, mate. Made a grand final.
It's a great list, you know.
Yeah. It's almost like it's a grand final.
It's almost like they made a granny.
Yeah.
These are legends.
Yeah.
Was Skinny Lappin? Oh yeah, Lappin.
Yeah.
You know what? That's who you are.
I'll happily take that.
Adrian Hickmott. Did Adrian Hickmott play in the prelim?
I'm just gonna start Matthew Hogg. Yeah.
Hogg.
Do you like? Is it too late for Mil Hannah? I feel like it might be.
Mil Hannah. I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Ben Nelson? What? Oh, that's elite. Who gave us that? Benjamin Todd.
Is it too late for Peter Dean? I think it might be.
Peter Dean? Yeah, it's too late for Peter Dean.
See, I know the 95 team.
Mansfield? No Mansfield. Favola? No Favola. Matty Allen? Matthew Allen? Allen? Oh, Allen A.N. There you go. Okay. Rice Manton? What? Is that Dean Rice? Yeah, Dean Rice. Glenn Manton. Oh, you gave us 2 in 1, Lou. Thank you.
Key forward. God.
That would have been Aaron Hamill, no? Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff.
So we need a key defender, a half forward, and a midfield on the bench. Franchina? Anthony Franchina.
Scott Cabrera had 27-2. It's a fair game.
Chris Massey. I think I tried Massey.
He's there. He's there
He's here. Where?
on the bench.
Oh, yeah, Chris Massey. Youngest on the field, 19 years old. How old are you again, Ari?
20. How old are you, Terry?
I'm 33, mate.
Yeah. That's what I
I'm
thought.
33. No, just for context, someone younger than you was playing in a grand final.
Ollie Hollands is younger than me.
Michael Sexton. All right. And we need a half forward. Simon Beaumont. I think that's the answer. Yeah.
Nice.
Well done.
Very good, chat.
All things excellent are as difficult as they are rare. It's a nice little touch.
Clearly.
That's a nice little touch. A great little quiz there.
I got 3, so I'm more than content.
If you guys want to play this game, I'm going to put the link in. It's just such a great addition to this show. Cameron, aka Foxwood, is just giving us something else to play with there. So we did that in
3 minutes. 3:50.
No, well, yeah, nearly 4. What is a reasonable time limit for this?
5 minutes.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. If we're using the chat, especially 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because I reckon if we didn't use the chat, we'd still be on here.
We have a question from a 15-year-old.
Our audience is too smart.
Our audience is too smart. Who wins, this team or our 2024 team? I don't really remember 99, to be honest. I think Hamill got suspended and we challenged it.
Yeah, they injunction, wasn't it? They went to the court, went to the Supreme Court or something along those lines. I think. Is that right?
Really?
Is that right? I don't know. It might be so wrong. I feel like it is really wrong.
Worst try. Oh. So apparently, Hamill. Hang on. In the 1999 preliminary finals, both Aaron Hamill and Mick Mard committed dirty. This is on Big Footy, so this is like an individuals. They both committed dirty acts that should have seen them rubbed out. Hamill blatantly dropped his knee into an Essendon player's head. He was initially suspended, but threatened court action and escaped on some very dubious technicality. Wow, they went to the court. They would have done a watch-along. We would have had a watch-along in 1999.
Surely we could, if that happened now, we would have to, surely we could get a correspondent at court.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that.
Wow. I want to know. I didn't know about this with Aaron Hamill. I want to know. Aaron Hamill.
See, I wasn't going insane. It was something related to do with.
Ari, that's really good.
Yeah, well, my old man is where do you think this like nerdism comes from? My old man isn't that bad, but obviously he was well and truly immersed.
So in the lead up, this is from Wikipedia. So in the lead up to the grand final, Aaron Hamill was cited on video evidence for kneeing Dean Wallace in the head while the latter was on the ground during the third quarter. Hamill was found guilty, and the AFL tribunal initially suspended him for 2 matches, which would have seen him miss the grand final. Carlton then successfully appealed the suspension using the testimony of biomechanics experts to convince the appeals board that the contact was accidental. Years later, Hamill admitted to kneeing Wallace deliberately and describing the biomechanics testimony as a tactic to bore the hell out of the appeals board. Wallace was reported on the day for striking Michael Sexton in the first quarter, but was cleared for the tribunal. Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Why can't we use that now? Imagine David Zeta.
Well, we kind of do. We did it last year with Harry.
Oh, yeah, Kate. How could I forget?
It was kick accuracy, interference technique. We shouldn't talk about it too much on stream. The dirty little secret is that's what we do. We bore the death out of the tribunal.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what, yeah.
And the Pull Abroad YouTube channel just is there.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Just to scoop up everyone's attention when everyone's bored.
Nothing else to do. Apart from Yes.
Wow. We used it with Crips a few years ago. Yeah.
No, yes, but also not really.
Yeah, Crips, I thought Crips was a really well thought out deliberation back and
Crips,
forth.
we outsmarted the AFL, and they've never forgiven us for that. That was one of the best things we've ever done as a club.
You know what's really funny though? I mean, we've built that reputation over the last few years with our legal team, but we couldn't get a player off for anything for quite a while, up until a few years ago.
Yeah, no, I do remember that stretch. Yeah,
See, Marnie knows.
she
Marnie
knows.
knows.
She does know.
Best legal team in the
Part-time
business.
Carlton supporter.
Aaron Hamill, he bumps who he wants.
He
The
needs to.
biomechanic in 1999, we're talking about biomechanics. I love that I learned something new just then.
That's great. It was good watching you become more knowledgeable. I felt like I was watching like a what's it? What are butterflies? What are butterflies before the butterflies?
Caterpillars?
Are they?
Yeah.
Is it? Is that right?
How am I educating you on the point you're trying to make to me?
Oh yeah. Anyways, it's like watching a caterpillar turn into a butterfly.
No, I am definitely a sapio. I'm a sapiosexual. Yeah, get into my mind and like nerd me up. And
What
I love
did
it.
you just say? That
When you
was
have an attraction to intelligence, you know.
Okay, that's great.
I reckon you. No, you're not. You're not into intelligence. You're into.
I absolutely what? Sorry, that is an insult to a lot of people.
Imagine doing a BA interview with Jack Elliott. Hey, Peter, you'll appreciate this, and Ari as well. You know, you do know I wore the camel jacket last week.
What?
The camel jacket.
Oh yeah.
It's done. It's over. Never wearing it again.
Why?
Well, you know, I thought I'd bring it back for Cripps' 200th. Like, no, it's over. It's done.
Oh, well, can I have it?
No, you cannot. It won't fit you ever.
I can use it as like a blanket.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's
It
fat.
genuinely won't fit you ever.
Yeah, no, I know, but there's other. I can hang it up. It can be good decor. I can sell it on. You can give it to me, and you can have 30% of the profits.
Got to move it, Albert, mate. You're bang on. It's time to get over it. I'm with you. 2000 was also the first time the AFL system changed, requiring the need for teams that finish between 5th and 8th to win both of their finals matches to win the grand final.
Yeah, because the system before then was just horrendously weird.
Will the legal team stay if the son is drafted to another team, or is that a package draft? Very good.
Debbie, no, you didn't, because he's a fair weather supporter.
No, I didn't go to GWS. Thank goodness. Aria would have hated on you so badly.
Why?
So bad.
Because
you really, yeah, you did. You planted the seed.
Yeah, because sorry, I value your presence.
I wouldn't have hung out with you.
Okay, that's great. No, that's right. That's fine. You know, I wouldn't have wanted you anywhere near me anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll be cramping your style. I'm too old, remember?
Yeah.
I'll be fucked off when you tell me that I'm like ruining your vibe.
Do I ruin your vibe?
What do you add to my vibe?
Oh, I add a punchline.
Yeah, you add content.
Yeah.
But like, you know.
I think I bring a lot of comedic value.
You bring some comedic value, yes.
Yeah, great. That's all I care. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hey,
Terry,
let's talk about
what North Melbourne game do you have, Terry?
Which what?
What North Melbourne game do you have?
Which North Melbourne game do I have?
Yeah,
the one that's upcoming.
Ah, great.
The one that's upcoming. Maz, we don't get the stat anymore on this channel. We actually don't even get Ari anymore on this channel.
I'm right here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was having a meal after the game on Saturday, so I
No,
couldn't
that's fair
join.
enough.
Thank you.
I don't blame you after Saturday.
Yeah,
I don't blame
and
anyone.
yeah, so not my fault.
Yeah. No, I want to turn our focus to this week because we reflect a lot, but let's look ahead. Let's look ahead to selection because I think it's a can of worms.
Yeah, we could be here for a while.
Yeah, and I want to unpack it.
Okay, where shall we start?
Let's start with we know Zach Williams won't play. Oh, you
Yep.
know what? Let's start with the injury report because we got an updated
Yes.
injury report
Did we? When?
yesterday.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay.
They actually show the injury report a little differently now. It's really cool. Also,
Ooh.
have you noticed that the meltdowns on Tuesday nights are not happening as much?
I don't really go on Twitter all that often now.
Yeah, but like nowhere else.
No, I just assume that's where. I mean, if pigs will fly before I decide to go on Facebook consistently.
Okay.
And Twitter's the only place where the meltdowns occur. So,
Okay. Well, this is where it's at. Zach
Right.
Williams. I mean, it's a strain. They're going to work through a timeline. I like how they've started to do this. This is clever because they give
Yeah,
themselves a
buy
week.
them a lot of time. Yeah,
Yep.
buys them a heap
So
of time. Clever.
is what it is. Now, because of that, who is the replacement? Like for like, Jesse Motlop?
I think it has to be, right? I think
It has to be. It has to be.
I think it has to be.
Okay.
Put him deep. And I know. I mean, to those who watch VFL probably more often than I do, can either confirm or deny this. But I know he's been playing a little bit more up the ground than what Zach has been playing in the AFL. But I also think it's the most natural replacement we've got, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Fantasia didn't even play on Sunday. I mean, he suited up, hurt his calf or calf soreness. I don't know if he's going to be even a factor because the other guys are fit and he had already been demoted to the VFL.
Yeah.
Now, McGovern. It was 1 to 2 weeks last week. He's a test this week. Keeping in mind that we have a 5-day break until the next game, what would you do?
I wouldn't play him. I think the 5-day break has a lot to do with that. I think that has a lot to do with that. If we were playing, if we had a 7-day break, I would probably say play him. But I think the 5-day break, especially considering it's going to be Port the week after, a good team he'll probably be involved in the game a lot more than what he probably will be this week. Dare I say? I wouldn't play him, but that's not because I don't think he's good enough. Like if this week was a grand final, you play him. If this week was a prelim, you probably play him because I think he's very important, very very important. I just wouldn't risk him. I actually think he's that important that I wouldn't risk him.
Okay. And then Billy Wilson, who, hasn't been playing anyway. This is the entire injury list. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 of them. One of the 8 is a non-factor because Jack Silvani just won't play this year. Can we talk about Doc for a second?
That was a bombshell, wasn't it, on Tuesday night?
Yeah. What were your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I think the club have to be very, very careful with this. Very, very careful. Yeah. Because we love Doc. Like, more than I think he's the most loved player at the football club, I think, on a whole. I think that would be probably fair to say. And it's one of the ones where, I mean, assuming that the whole rhetoric is if he plays, we'll only play in a grand final. It's do we play him and then he could potentially cost us because he's not 100%. But also if he plays and we win, it's football's peaked sort of deal.
it's the type of miracle that
it's so it is so Hollywood. Like it is it's all like it's almost too good to be true. Like it's almost to the point where it's perfect. The story's perfect, but life and footy very, very rarely give you the perfect story. So I don't know.
I mean, we're watching Cottrell and Chera struggling to sort of re-synergize.
Yeah.
Or is that unfair to say? Or do you see that too?
No, I think that's a good way of putting it, re-synergize. But yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they're unfit. I just think they're not in alignment with where the group is at.
Yes, no, I for sure think it's the latter. Yeah, like when I tell you, like if like, and I was going to tweet this today, if Sam Doherty comes back and plays a grand final and we win it, and he's on stage lifting the cup with Patrick Cripps, I don't think people understand football would have peaked. As Carlton supporters, it peaks. There's nothing that could feel better than that. Like I genuinely don't think like it would be. Yeah, and then Lewis says in the comments, if he retires straight after, it's like we're done here. End the channel, end football. I'm not renewing my membership. I will never be able to get that same level of fulfillment again. Never.
True.
Never. No way. No way in hell. No way.
That's a really good point. And it's like the premiership drought, and ending it in that way.
Because it's also that feeling would be. I mean, you could challenge that by saying, what if we beat Collingwood at a grand final by a point? Or what if we beat Essendon in a grand final by a point? That would feel good. But that's more feeling the schadenfreude of it, feeling the pleasure from the opposition's misfortune, which contributes heavily to the gratification that you would feel in that moment. Whereas, should we just verse Sydney, beat Sydney, Doc comes on as a sub or whatever, plays the game, lifts the cup, we win the flag, dry-breaking flag, and he's there, it would be fully... The gratification and the fulfillment would be totally from within, and that's the purest form. So it's like, yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with giving him the green light to go for it.
No, of course not.
I think it's just an awesome, if anything, if he can fast track his recovery for pre-season 2025, great. If he can get to a point where everyone's looking at him like, oh my God, I think he might make it, great. It's inspirational. It's an energy source. It just didn't make sense when he did it again. It's like, what? After everything we've been through, you're just going to do your ACL again? Like, so innocuous? It didn't make sense at the time, but maybe it was all part of the plan.
Football has a funny way of working itself out. Like it's almost uncanny, sort of the way that it does it, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I had people ask about Jack Silvani as well. I actually saw him for the first time. You know how they had the training session that got cancelled, but then they had the signing last week. So I saw Jack for the first time. He was doing rehab exercises, so that was nice. I miss Jack. Isn't it funny? We like one ruck, two rucks. It would be perfect with Jack Silvani as the pinch hit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, wouldn't it?
Well, the whole answer's there. It's like Jack Silvani, 5-10 minutes a quarter. Like, there you go.
Yeah, it's sorted. Leave Harry in the goal square sort of deal. But Doc. I don't know. I can't get over it. I can't get over it. And I mean, look, the comparison to Tyson Goldsack in 2018 is right there. He came back in 22 weeks. Doc would have to come back in 26.
Correct.
I think. And then who else did it? Dan McStay did it in 30. Dan McStay's done it in 32.
No, I think it's a little bit more. Dan McStay was 295 days. So what's that? 295 divided by 7? 42 weeks.
Okay, well,
Is that right? You divide it by 7. 295 divided by 7. Yeah, 42 weeks.
okay, well, there you go.
But whatever. It's like I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Obviously, Alex Rance put his hand up to play in the 2019 grand final after doing his knee, funnily enough, against us. And I think that was an entire reconstruction as well, not just an ACL. He put his hand up to play, said he was fit. Dim ultimately said no. And he spoke about it on a podcast which I listened to, and Dimmer, well, from what I can remember, Dimmer was basically very front with him and said, "Hey, if you play and cost us, it's not a fairy tale. It's the exact opposite of a fairy tale.
It's the exact opposite." Oh.
Like bluntly speaking, and I almost hate myself for what I'm about. Like, I hate that I'm about to say this, but if Sam Doherty plays the grand final and his body breaks down and we lose by 2-3 points, you know what I mean?
Sack Russell.
Yes, that's what it is.
Oh,
but like this is the conversation. Like, it's. But then again, if we win by 2 or 3 points and he kicks a goal in the last quarter, it's like the best thing that's ever happened. So I don't even want to think about it until it might happen.
The fact that it's even a conversation, I think, is a big one. So Goldsack, there was a few things when I looked into the archives, they took a graft from his quad as opposed to his hamstring. He did a rigorous training block before the surgery. Interestingly enough, he was squatting like 229 kilos. Like he apparently there was a theory that if you'd put heavy work before the surgery, it would help speed up the rehab. He also had a bit of a back strain while doing the rehab after surgery. So yeah, 22 weeks, like it's less than half a year. And like I saw the footage, I uploaded it in a video, like, it was regulation ACL, change direction, no one around him, non-contact. So he came back. The only thing with him was he played on Josh Kennedy in the qualifying final, who had missed 6 weeks anyway with his own injury. So that might have helped with, Nathan Buckley said that it helped with selecting him. But he stayed in the side and played well enough.
Yeah, well, I would love to. I'm sure he's spoken about it, but I would love to hear Bucks's. I think he's spoken about whether or not he should have played Darcy Moore instead in that role as a key defender.
That was the other issue. They had Darcy Moore injured, and I think Lyndon Dunn.
Yeah. I would. Obviously, if Doc comes in, someone has to come out. And that is a situation which I dread. If someone I can't imagine, injury aside, because it is what it is, a player getting omitted from a prelim into a grand final,
yeah.
Going back to the injury list.
Yeah, we really don't. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Like, this is the best it's looked all year.
There was a period of time where it was a bit better. A couple of weeks,
like maybe opening round it was a bit better, but we still had Wiedering and Walsh.
No, I think there was. I think it was around about the Cats game, around about that time, the Bombers game, where it was really healthy. I also think names wise, yeah, you're probably right, but top end talent wise, you got 3 players at an absolute minimum who are definitely starting 22, and then you got Sauce, Fantasia, Dirds, who are all on the fringes. So,
who are these guys that are definitely in the best team if they're available?
Zach, Govern, Doc.
Zach, McGovern, and Doc. Okay. Yeah. So, let's just hope it continues. I think it's on an upward trajectory.
No, that's all right. For sure.
Where are you? What are your plans for Sunday? Sunday 4:40. That's the other thing as well.
What an awkward time. What a shit time.
This is taking it back. This is taking it back to 2018.
Except there's going to be 48,000 people instead of like 19.
So, will there though?
Yeah.
Do you think people were showing up on 4:45 on Sunday?
It wasn't sold out, but okay, there'll be 40. If any Carlton supporter is going to take a game off, it's this one. Do you know what I mean? Like if any Carlton supporter is going to look at the fixture and be like, "Yeah, no, I'll just stay home with the kids."
So this is the sentiment that I'm a little bit worried about because I'm feeling it, you're feeling it, we're feeling it. Energy is a big part of this group. You know, they feed off it.
It is, but I also think they're going to be fully aware of this potential of what I've just said and what the feeling is. So they will know that, and they will try and do things to counteract that by trying to garner their own energy and create their own energy.
I think this is just all about them, the players. They've got to do it for themselves because they want to and not rely on the crowd. Because I don't know if the crowd's going to get fully invested.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe not.
You know?
Maybe not. It'll be...
Because a lot of us are thinking this should be a win, must be a win. Nothing will ever be good enough.
Yeah, it's got real... What was the phrase? Danger game?
It's got frustrated for a couple of quarters, then start getting angry at umpiring calls, and the booing of the umpiring calls elevates to a point where it unlocks the crowd. It's got that written all over it.
We need something. As I reckon, the crowd would need something to tick them off, whether it's a bullshit umpiring decision, or Charlie going bunter, or Cripper doing something, or Nikolaki picking up Brody Kemp and dumping him on his head, or whatever he might do. And there's something to happen.
There's a bit of snark. There's always a little bit of feeling with the Roos. Clarko doesn't like Carlton, you know.
That's the one thing about North I don't like.
What?
Alistair Clarkson. Just because of his hatred towards us and his ability to just always do well against us, no matter what the situation is.
Yeah. Maz is taking her grandson. He turned 3 on Monday. It'll be his 5th game. Love that. It's got a larky 4 goals in the first quarter vibes and sending everyone into meltdown vibes.
Imagine.
I think the Roos will give us a bit of something to think about. I think they will. It's
got LDU ripping out of a stoppage, taking a bounce, launching it from 50.
It's got a quarter time spray, half time spray. What are we? Boys, pull your fingers out.
For? Yeah.
What do we stand for? We've been speaking about it for 3 weeks. What the fuck are we doing? It's got, I hope not.
What do you think?
I don't want to say it because I don't want to put it out there, but it's how I'm feeling.
I look at the other way. I think if you say it, you kind of reverse the jinx. So, yeah. So like, it's like if you're constantly thinking of something, it's not going to happen.
Luca, this is a good point. And this is something we're going to have to get used to. We're going to start being the hunted again. We were kind of the hunted even when we were shit because people love beating Carlton. But really now, teams are using us as a measuring stick.
Yeah.
Like what we used to do. Oh, we're playing a top 4 side. You know, if we can play well against top 4 side, then we're legitimate, you know? Yeah.
I also think last week, and Debbie puts it kind of in a roundabout way there. Oh, I'm kind of looking at it from a different perspective, what Debbie put in the comments there. If they're going to get up for Cripper, why North? That's a good point. But my brain also turns to, they didn't get up for Cripper, so you pricks better get up against for this week, sort of deal. Got to make up for it.
There's a weird part of me that understands how we didn't. I don't know. Like, we're not an individual team anymore.
So do you reckon the 200 was spoken about at all?
Surely. In some way, surely. But sometimes when your focus isn't on the process, that's where things can go missing.
But do you not think... Sorry.
Yeah, go.
No, go.
Well, I think the process-driven approach eliminates emotion for good and for bad. So when things are bad, they're never that as bad. But we want them to tap into this nice emotion because it's Cripper and it's sentiment.
Yeah, I understand. I would argue that I don't think they're necessarily mutually exclusive. I think you can have a process-driven approach, process-driven approach, but also channel that this is a like an occasion in a sense. There needs to be a different level of, in the same way that you would try that extra 5% in the grand final in comparison to a game in round 10, naturally, because of the stakes that are involved. I think because of who it is and because of the milestone of who it is and because of the game that he played, especially in the second half, it's almost like, maybe not necessarily before the game, but after the game, I reckon the boys would have. If Vossi didn't say to the boys, "You've let your captain down today," something along those lines, I'd be surprised. I don't necessarily think they did it. I don't necessarily think that they did let him down, because I think that is a very, very matter of fact way of saying it. And in the end, they just lost the football game. It's not the end of the world. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's fine, right? But I think, it's something different about Cripper. Like, it's the he's given so much that it's time that for the last 24 months the club have given back to him, right? But let's not let that go, sort of deal.
He's given so much. He's been given a lot as well.
How so?
They don't owe Cripps a premiership. They owe it to themselves as a group. They don't owe Doc a premiership. They owe it as a group.
Well, the group has been through a lot as well.
Of course. Yeah. Like, they don't owe it because Charlie missed 2.5 years, came back miraculously, wins 2 Colemans, maybe 3 in a row.
But do you not think that maybe the injury side of things are a bit different because it's external factors to a certain extent, but Cripper's loyalty. We spoke about last week how he said Cripper might make loyalty cool again, right? Do you not think that leadership and that responsibility of, this club has given me a lot in my early days, I'm going to stick fat and stick through the worst of the worst when it comes to a football club, be the captain of it, front it, embrace it, and win a Brownlow through it? Do you not think that there's at least a certain percentage of this means a little bit more?
But then we're going backwards into individualizing.
True.
When what got us here is becoming a team where we don't rely on Patrick Cripps anymore because he's got help around him.
Yeah. Is there extenuating circumstances that buck that trend? Or is it this is the approach, regardless of what's going on, this is the approach?
Yeah, Doc nearly losing his life and coming back. That, I think, holds much more weight than Patrick Cripps staying loyal at a shit club that paid him very well. Like, Doc nearly lost his life. Like, we're talking life or death. And I'm not pot-shotting Cripps, but I feel like Cripps would think this too. I think he would say, fuck my 200th. I want to win a flag.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's, and I completely agree with that sentiment. I think that would have 100% been Cripper's MO heading into the game. And I think the fact that he,
by the way, I also loved that he refused to be chaired off.
No, and I was about to
absolutely loved it. So it's like, if Cripps is feeling that, why should anyone else in the fan base be outraged that we didn't do it for Cripps, when Cripps himself is like, you know what, we lost, we've got to move on. Like, it is about me, but it's not about me. Like, Cripps will be remembered and appreciated forever.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah.
I don't think he's missing his flowers. We would love him to win a flag because it would just be the icing on the cake. And but I think it's a dangerous conversation to have if we think too much about a 200th or a milestone game. We focus in on that. We all it takes is 2% focus away from what you are and what makes you your best, and you lose a game of footy.
Yeah. Would the milestone aspect of it not want the players to focus more to get the reward?
I think it's a week. I think it borders on weak when you need to extra motivation because you've got one of your teammates playing in a milestone game. Like, of course they want to win for him.
Yeah.
Of course they do. And of course they did. You know, like there's no doubt about it. They went out last week pre-game, like, man, we can't wait to win this for you. And, you know, of course they wanted the photo after the game and Cripps to remember his 200th forever. Of course they did. But I think if we lean too much into that, it's like, well, you know, we've become a process-driven team.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree.
yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Damien,
Good conversation.
I could not agree with you anymore. They don't owe us shit.
Why?
If I was a player, I would have a real love-hate relationship with the fan base.
I think
they don't know shit. We can leave. You can just don't be a member. You don't have to pay up.
Completely agree. And I also think you don't need to be a player to have that feeling. I'm sure you've had a love-hate relationship with our fan base. I've had a love-hate relationship with our fan base. And granted, we mean precisely 0.0001% in the grand scheme of things as well. Whereas the players are genuine stakeholders and genuine people who make a difference to the fan base and to the club, right? So I do agree with the fact that the last year was really interesting.
It would be nice for the fan base who stuck loyal, but I don't think they owe it to us. And I reckon that opinion has changed from me somewhere along the line in the last couple of years.
To challenge that, because I think just for the sake of challenging it in a certain respect, without the fans and without the passion that the fans and the 100,000 members have shown for the club, you spoke about before how the energy that we create helps the team.
Mm-hmm.
So the passion that the fans show for the club, would the club have the success without the passion from the fans? I'm not necessarily talking about not necessarily talking about on-field success as in like winning a game, like turning momentum within games, but the pressure to have reviews and to improve the club in general, because there is so much pressure and there is so much talk that it almost forces the club's hand in a sense. They can't hide. They can't cower away. They have to front it because there is so many people invested. Do you not think that there's a certain level of responsibility there to a bit of an extent?
No, look, I think there is a responsibility. I mean, when you're a coach, I mean, I'm sure this would have been spoken. I mean, I hope, I don't know. But when you've got people spending their life savings just to support you, like you use that and you want to honor that, but you don't owe them. You know, there was a brilliant quote. I watched Pep Guardiola talk about this. He's like, these people where they pay their money to come and watch you play. You know, and so that sentiment I totally get. People give their blood, sweat, tears, everything, generational family memberships, everything to the club, but that's so that they can feel a part of something. They're not circus monkeys that have to perform just because you paid a membership. And I think sometimes we borderline get into that mind, like, no, you have to play well today, otherwise I'm gonna, you know, tell you how it is, or you know, they can. There's a fine line between treating them as entertainers and human beings. They needed to find it for themselves last year because the fan base, for the most part, for a lot of it, like, you know, 26,000 odd at MCG against the Suns, like had let go.
Yeah.
So
the players last year showed more. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way to the fan base as a whole, because this is just generalizing. The players clearly, based on the output and the level of which they let go and were able to come back, the players showed more faith within themselves and faith in the process than what the fans did last season, generally speaking. And I wrote down as you were speaking there, I just wrote down they're not role models in the same sense. They're footballers that are paid to play football and win games.
Yeah.
Everything else is just a byproduct.
Yeah. I think I'm here. The club, different story. Those players, those players, you know, they are part of the club. They have a responsibility to perform, no doubt. But I always find it really interesting when I see rhetoric like, I want to know why Corey Durden hasn't been updated on the injury report because I paid a membership. I want to know. I want transparency. I think we want too much for what we pay for. I think we think we're entitled to more than what we are.
Where does that line stop? And where is that line?
I don't know. It's not black or white.
Certainly not that. But
it's certainly not. Like, I mean, what if the club didn't want to reveal certain bits of information because it might give 1%, or it might make the opposition spend a little bit more time and give us a little bit of a competitive advantage. I'd want them doing everything in their powers to win. So I'm just using the injury report as an excuse, you know, as an example. Sorry.
Yeah. At the end of the day, at the crux of it, fans want enjoyment. That's why we invest time. We want to feel enjoyment from the club.
Mm-hmm.
And a large part of that is premierships. So I think everything that we want from the club is to win a premiership so we can feel that, as a fan base, feel that enjoyment. I think it's part and parcel of a really, really passionate and really invested fan base, because I don't think it comes from a selfish perspective. I think
a damaged fan base after what happened in the early 2000s, you know?
Yeah.
And we're damaged as well.
For sure. And I think it doesn't come from a selfish perspective. I think it just comes from, this actually ties back brilliantly. So remember when David Teague said that the players tried too hard?
They tried over hard, yeah.
They tried over hard. I think a lot of the fans, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful, they care too much that they just, the club just let them, they are doing everything in their power to give you the ultimate feeling of enjoyment. That's what they're doing, because that's what they're paid to do, and that's what running a football club is.
Yeah.
That's sort of the deal.
I think because for so long the wrong people were in the roles, and it was probably really clear to a lot of us.
And a lot of fans have lost it. Yeah.
And I get it. I honestly do. I honestly understand anyone out there that's like, I just can't trust them anymore. Because, you know, but I mean, at the same time, it's pretty evident that we've got the right humans, the right people in the right places right now.
Across the board as well.
Across the board.
It's not just we have good players and we have likable players. It's obviously from an external perspective, because we can only know so much.
Yeah.
It seems like a unite and in the same way that when people say, should Carlton win the flag, I think it's very hard to say Carlton need to make a grand final, because making a grand final is very hard.
Yeah.
You need to give yourself the best opportunity to get success from every level, right? So it's very easy to say Carlton should kick more goals. You need to put yourself in a position where you are able to kick more goals. Carlton should make the grand final. You need to put yourself in a position to make the grand final. You need to have a successful club. You need to put yourself in a position where you can become a successful club. And part of that is getting the right people who know what they're doing, and people who are all united under whatever they're trying to do.
I think what the fans are maybe owed is a club, because you can't guarantee results. There's 17 other clubs. But when you have a club like ours that's so big, has such a big fan base, 100,000 members, earns a lot of revenue from that most clubs don't, you owe it to them to, at the bare minimum, not be a basket case. You know, some of
Yeah.
the efforts that we used to watch is
Yeah.
probably what got us so riled up. Like, you could just see it. Like, the application was laughable at times.
Y-
You know?
It goes back to the kind of the thing of like effort. The effort doesn't take talent. Like
Correct.
if a player or a person within their role is not talented enough, it is what it is. Not
Mm.
everyone can be Patrick Cripps, not everyone can be Charlie Kerno, not everyone can be Lee Matthews or Alistair Clarkson or any of these super like uber successful coaches.
Mm.
It's the because we do as as a fan base on a whole, we do everything to see and support and to aid a premiership win. We just want to see that reciprocated.
Yeah.
And when it goes back to the damaged fan base, I think for a big portion of my lifetime and for your lifetime as well, it seemingly hasn't been that because once again we don't truly know.
Yeah. We're in a third of another 5-year plan to win flags. The club has given us the expectation. Well, they've given themselves the expectation. Yeah. The club owes us happiness. Lou, I couldn't disagree more. You owe yourself your own happiness. If you choose to put your happiness into a team and into something that you can't control, that's on you. The club owes you hope because it sells hope. I don't think it owes you happiness. I think if you're living your life expecting your happiness to come from the club winning a flag, I mean, like, you know how hard it is to do that?
But yeah.
That's if you tie happiness to winning a flag.
Yeah, see, this as well is I agree with that, but I also think the club can give you happiness through different ways. Personally speaking, the back end of 2023 was awesome. Yes, because we're winning games, but also just the vibe, the community feeling. You'd go to the open trainings and it would just be so many more people, so many people are happy. Like even with like the besties after and before games, so many people were just happy to be there, enjoying them. Like it was just awesome, right? And granted, that did come from the success on field, but the club lent into that with the stronger together stuff when they really lent into that. So that is the club, I think, giving supporters happiness without giving them a flag. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, there was still success to come from last year. Lou, I understand. They give me happiness. When they win, I'm happy as well.
And that's a totally valid, like unbelievably valid way of thinking. Like,
But part of winning is losing.
Yeah,
Not
well-
losing, not winning 3 or 44 like we did a few, 5-6 years ago. But part of this premiership and the quest to it is losing. Like, losing is the secret ingredient to winning. It's part of the process. It's part of the story. The dirty secret about success is failure. Like, you fail over and over again until you get it right.
Yeah.
I think, when I reflect on my life, this channel, it was a series of failures that sort of gets it to where it is. It's not successful in my eyes yet. It's constantly moving and constantly making decisions to move forward.
No being or entity is born successful and remains successful. In order to be the best, you have to be better than everyone else. And everyone starts on the same playing field, right? Everyone starts on the same playing field essentially. So in order to get better than everyone else, you need to learn to get better than everyone else. And the way that you learn, one of the key ways of learning, is by making mistakes and knowing not what. It's about knowing what not to do more than knowing what to do.
Yeah.
So, and I know we have lost enough. We've lost a heap.
We've lost a lot. Mate, it's
heap.
the difference is I watch losses now differently than what I did and what we used to, because there's a clear difference in the way they were going about it. You know what I'm fearful of? I'm fearful of, if we don't win the flag this year, there's just a complete firestorm of just, lashing out at the players. I'm fearful of that.
Do you really think that's going to happen?
Mate, Yes.
After all of the shit over the last 20 years.
You're trying to tell me, do I think people are going to think rationally?
You're probably right. You're probably right.
We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we win the flag and everyone's happy.
Hopefully, yeah, I was about to say, hopefully we don't see that. hopefully we don't see.
You know what's going to happen if we win the flag? We're going to win by like 26 points. And then it's going to be, we should have won by 10 goals. Can't believe we didn't put them away.
Percentage boost. Percentage boost.
Oh, dear. All right. I've got to run. But that was great.
That was
therapeutic. That was a great conversation. It was good. There's still no right or wrong answer, but it was good to have the back and forth.
It's never right or wrong.
No, and that's the whole point. It's the discussion. So thanks to those of you who contributed to that.
Very, very balanced discussion in the comments.
Yes. All right. Hey, I'm chatting with Marnie Cohen in 15 minutes. I'm going to look forward to that. And Ari, see you soon, my friend.
See you next week. Ciao, bro.
Go Blues. Bye, everyone.
Go Blues.